Hi, I'm Bram, and did you hear that Paramount just dubbed 3 new episodes of a brand new Star Trek show for free on YouTube? I mean, they just dropped it as I'm writing this. At the rate I normally make videos, Starfleet Academy could be out by the time I release this. Also, I just realized the surprisingly good audio drama Star Trek Con also just dropped, which is not what I'm talking about, but holy shit, how is that actually good? I couldn't have been less excited about even more con-focused media, so trust me when I say you should give it a chance. But no. I'm actually talking about Star Trek Scouts though, the first Star Trek show to be aimed at the untapped preschool audience. This show focuses around 3 toddlers in a Starfleet-esque setting, dealing with threats such as a meatball asteroid. Cute. I hate it. Now, I'm not against a Star Trek show for toddlers on principle. A lot of really nonsensical and, well, frankly childish criticism of this show basically comes down to, who is this for, why would I want this, which, it's for toddlers, it's not for you. I know a lot of these rage-bait producers make a living out of exclusively watching stuff for children, but yeah, this may skew a bit too young for even you guys. I think it's profoundly weird to complain that a show for toddlers is in fact aimed at toddlers, and my problems with the show are not at all that I, an adult, did not feel catered to. I actually think it's a good idea to get some new blood into this rapidly aging Star Trek fandom and draw in some new younger audiences. Although I might have tried some other tactic first, like maybe not cancelling the kids show you already had that was coincidentally maybe the best modern Star Trek show, or actually releasing your Star Trek shows somewhere people might actually see them instead of only on your own weird little streaming service that doesn't have much more to offer than Star Trek for people who are already into Star Trek. But what do I know? I don't have the business acumen that comes with inherited wealth, I guess. I'm also not gonna complain that Scouts doesn't adhere to the lore because the Vulcan boy isn't supposed to smile so much, or because actually Vulcans are very sensitive to smells, so he should be reacting way more negatively to this burping targ. Granted, I already have a low tolerance for those kinds of complaints in adult media, but complaining about stuff like that in this obviously non-canon show for toddlers is comical, sad, both. My complaint about Star Trek Scouts is that it's low-key fucking evil. Of course, ideally, toddlers should get very little screen time at all, but I can certainly empathize with having to do shit around the house or simply wanting a moment for yourself while having a small child around, so I certainly don't think it's some great evil to plonk your child in front of a screen from time to time. Hell, children's television can be actively beneficial in some ways. We literally have the creators of Sesame Street to thank for a huge amount of research on child development and the way media can assist in that. Shows like Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers, and more recently Bluey can be hugely beneficial in teaching children to, for example, develop cognitive skills and learn to handle their emotions in a healthy way, especially when watched with parents. If you want to learn more about this, Lindsay Ellis goes way more in depth about this in her latest video, which I highly recommend if you have 2.5 hours to spare and don't mind feeling really sad about the state of the world for a bit. My point here is that TV for toddlers can be an active good. This is what you would want Star Trek for children to look like. Star Trek has always had a reputation for being a forward-looking, progressive, and constructive series. Granted, its current flagship series may not have been the best at living up to that reputation the last 2 seasons, especially this season's, but at least I can still see that they're often trying. God, I hope this season was only the way it is because of the writer's strike. Anyway, a Star Trek for toddlers that can actually be an aid to kids' early development would be completely in line with the spirit of Trek at its best, and I would completely support something like that. But it isn't. What this series is a completely overstimulating mess of colors and noises, not meant to teach toddlers anything or challenge them in any way, but to keep them tranquilized and glued to the screen that's been put in front of them. It's the same kind of pacifier as your Paw Patrols, your Cocomelons, your Super Kitties. It's the kind of toddler slop that has actually been shown to slow children's brain development, reduce their information processing capabilities, and shorten their already short attention spans. Shows such as this are completely overstimulating to their target audience of preschoolers, whose brain is still developing. The reason shows such as these are often so effective at getting kids to shut up is that it's literally taking all of their brain capacity to even keep up with it. To illustrate my point, there is already a reaction video online of a kid reacting to Star Trek Scouts, and when asked what he liked most about it, literally all he mentions are the colors. He specifically claims to like the blue laser. On top of that, it's just so lazy. The 3 episodes that are out right now all recycle a bunch of animations and lines and follow the exact same structure. A comet is heading towards the Scouts in the form of a common object that a target preschool audience will be familiar with, a meatball, a soap bar, or a piece of chalk, and the Scouts have to choose what to fire at it to stop it, first making the wrong choice and then the right one. This is where what you might call the one nominally educational aspect of the show comes in, because it might teach kids to relate concepts to each other, i.e. the fork destroys the meatball because you use it for food and the soap bar is dissolved with water, but one, the brains of the kids watching this will probably be too overstimulated to think along with the show, and two, in the third episode, the solution to the chalk asteroid is a hammer, which don't seem like they have much to do with one another. Anyway, I of course know that young children don't mind repetition. I saw Madagascar 2 Escape to Africa about 6 times during a 2-week vacation with my younger cousins, but the fact that children aren't particularly discerning viewers shouldn't mean that we ask nothing of kids' media. If anything, it gives us adults more of a responsibility to show things that are emotionally and intellectually nurturing to them, or at the very least not actively harmful. One more criticism, and this is not the most important thing, but I'd wager this show will also do jack shit to actually get kids interested in Star Trek. A show like Star Trek Prodigy actually had the potential to get kids curious about other parts of the Star Trek universe, but this show's connections to Star Trek are so skin deep. Will the fact that this little blue pig thingy is supposed to be a Targ actually get kids interested in watching TNG down the line? Is this Romulan rubber ducky actually gonna make kids curious about what a Romulan is? I'd wager not. If I had to name one positive thing, I do think it's cool that a little Vulcan guy has a prosthetic arm. That's probably gonna make some kid feel good about themselves. Unfortunately, that's not enough to change the overall verdict. Star Trek Scouts is not only a lazy, repetitive show that barely makes use of the larger franchise it's a part of, but is actively harmful to kids' development and unworthy of bearing the Star Trek name. Just being for toddlers is not an excuse for being harmful or even just for bad quality. Children's entertainment can be great, imaginative, and helpful, and we can absolutely demand things from it. If kids are important, then so are the things they watch, which means this probably shouldn't exist.